Leone proposed a very bold plan to have two permanent African members as well as two extra non-permanent elect members for the Security Council, which means there will be 7 African Security Council members. Would that be too much?
It won't be too much. I mean, if we consider proportionality, and I think Africa deserves not only its membership in the non-permanent category, but in the permanent category. It is a prestige that our continent deserves because Africa is no longer, is no longer a pass-through continent. It's a continent that invites real people to bring in substantial investment because Africa holds the future. The request which the president presented yesterday to the UN Security Council for the reform of the council itself is not born from his own personal aspiration. Come to think of it, Sierra Leone is a very little country in West Africa. If we say Africa is going to be represented in the UN Security Council in the permanent category, we will find it very difficult to fight with the other hegemons of the continent. But because this is a collective responsibility and aspiration on the part of Africa, the AU, African Union, Summit of Heads of State and Government, charged the responsibility of canvassing, promoting, and garnering support for the common African position in terms of the reform of the UN Security Council, espoused in 2 important documents that were signed by the heads of state and government of Africa. There's a Winnie Consensus and the SAT Declaration. These 2 documents have prescribed the nature of the request. And if it is anything that the entire Africa can go by, we want, as it was resoundingly stated by the president, 2 permanent seats and 2 additional non-permanent seats in the non-permanent category, which, like you mentioned, will come up with the number of seats to 7. It is very important for the P5 and the entire world to recognize Africa's presence in the Security Council. My country has been working with the other members of the Council to drive initiatives, co-sponsor many of the resolutions since we came to the Council for peace and security. I think 7 seats in total will be a very great stride to a very satisfactory end where Africa's voice proportionately should be heard.
Do you have any of those permanent members responded to this proposal so far?
Absolutely. In the council, when the president made that plea, we heard all the P5 member states that had representative in the council. They all pretty much resonated with the need that Africa must have permanent representation in the permanent category. Look, I think this is justice delayed, but it is justice that I believe will be served to our African continent. Apart from what happened in the council, we've had many occasions where the P5 countries, their heads of state and government, have indicated the need, the very imperative need for Africa to have representation in the permanent category with increased representation in the non-permanent category. It is but just and fair for it to be done.
Minister Kaba, first, thank you very much for taking your time and accept our interview. Congratulations first being the president of Security Council. So how's everything going so far?